Welcome to the UC Davis Library on this most beautiful day of the summer. That's all my doing. No, it's actually because of this award. I want to start, first of all, I'm Mackenzie Smith, the University Librarian here at UC Davis. And so I will be moderating this event this afternoon. But you're not here to hear from me, you're here to meet the winners. First, though, I do need to tell you a little bit about the prize and its connection to the library's mission and why we're here today. So the Lang Prize is a new thing for UC Davis and for the library, and it was made possible by a generous gift from Professor Norma Lang, one of the university's top researchers in the biology faculty, and you'll hear more about her in a few minutes. The prize is recognizing undergraduates who've made extensive and exceptional use of the library's resources for a personal research project. Those resources may have included books or special collections, online databases, or consulting experts in the library. The prize also highlights excellence in undergraduate research, and we hope that it will serve to inspire more students to explore the vast resources available to them through the library. The Lang Prize is a first, as I said, and it's connecting programs that promote and support student success, which is a key goal of the library, with our programs to provide research support and training, which we'd like more undergraduate students to take advantage of. Students use the library more than ever today. You can see them all around you in the building. The majority of the use of this building is undergraduates trying to do their research and their studies. But they're a little more disconnected than ever from the collections and the resources that we have as those move online. When you're surrounded by books and journals, you sort of know that they're there for you. But if things are online, you don't necessarily think of that as a resource available to you and know how to reach it. So we really do need more ways to connect our students to the resources that we make available to them to make them more effective here at college and then beyond. So the library provides training for students in how to do research, but we want to encourage students to do more of that, and this prize is an extremely good way to motivate students to take good advantage of the library and take their research to the next level. Another benefit of the prize is that it allows faculty to connect in new ways with students, because the faculty and emeriti here care very, very much about students and their success, but their interaction with the student is primarily in the classroom, not the lab. So their participation in this prize program is a new way that they can engage with students in a different mode to think about research instead of just, getting through the quarter with the latest class. So they're really enjoying this program as well. So I need to spend a minute thanking everybody who participated in making this event successful. First of all, the students who applied for the prize. There were nearly 30 applications in this very first year, which is really heartwarming and inspirational. I'd like to thank the review committee who judged those applications and took a lot of time and effort to make sure that they were evaluating them well. I'd really like to thank the library team who organized this event and really the whole program, and you'll meet a couple of them today. And of course, the Lang family, whose gift made all of this possible. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the representative of that family who's here with us today, Andy Lang, and I will tell you just a little bit about Andy, who will then tell you a little bit about Norma Lang. Andy is Norma's nephew, and he and his sister, Lena, who are here today, were Professor Lang's closest relatives, and it fell to them to work with the library to shape how we would use her generous gift to us. Even though Andy spent his own career in the energy industry, he shares his aunt's passion for education. He has deep ties to his own alma mater, the University of Texas at Austin, where he's a longtime member of their engineering advisory board. Professor Lang, of course, spent her entire career as a teacher and a researcher here at UC Davis and engaging with students, which was her primary passion, both here at Davis and at the Woodland Public Library after she retired. So that was a lifelong, deep passion of hers that we are very thrilled to be able to recognize now. So it was Andy who helped us decide how best to honor his aunt through this gift. And we hit on the idea of a prize for undergraduate education, as I said, encouraging students to expand their education here at UC Davis through research projects that make exceptional use of the library. So I want to thank Andy Lang and invite him up to tell us a little bit about Norma. Thank you. It's all yours.
Mackenzie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. A very warm introduction. Very honored to be here. This is really a incredible recognition that the library has developed for my late aunt. She was a very interesting and unique woman. My sister and I, we come from a very small family, so my mother was an only child, so didn't have any offspring from that side. My father had one sister, Aunt Norma, and of course she didn't have any children, so I never had any cousins. So later in my life, I decided I need to connect with family, and I think she warmed up to that tremendously because her life had been here in Davis, California. The university was her family, and that meant a tremendous amount to her, and that's recognized in what she left behind for the library. But probably in the last 20 years of her life, my sister and I connected with her and really spent a lot of great time when we could get out to Davis amongst our other commitments and travels and enjoy her. She was unique. She was, I would describe her as socially very liberal and fiscally very conservative. And we always got a big kick out of the strength of her frugality. And I think with that, she ended up with a nice sum of money that she was able to leave to the university. One of her great hobbies was speculating in the stock market, and she had a great time with that, and I think she got involved in it during some great years and made some good money with that. So that was, we enjoyed watching her invest in energy companies and other type of activities and do very well with that. In the times we would spend with her, what we gained and in terms of knowing about her was her passion for teaching. She loved to spend time with students. She had a passion for her profession. Frankly, an area that was quite foreign to me. I studied chemical engineering and really didn't get greatly involved with phycology and study of algae, but we spent a lot of time talking about academics and how we could do things to help the universities, and I shared with her my involvement with the engineering college at the University of Texas. And from that I gained a great deal of appreciation for her love of teaching and her love of learning and research. Early in her career, she was very active in a specialty in her area and became well renowned for it, and clearly was well respected within the phycological community in the country and around the world. I would also add one thing that gives her a great deal of credibility is that she did do her postgraduate work not only under a renowned botanist named Dr. Richard Starr, but more significantly at the University of Texas. So that gives her a great deal of credibility. But seriously, she loved her life here. She loved the community of Davis, and that was apparent. I'm very touched by the hard work that the library's done, Mackenzie Smith, Gene Karenke, and all your colleagues in developing this program. And again, the number of applicants for the prize this year in its first year is very impressive, and I'm looking forward to meeting the recipients of the award from this prize. That's just reading these, if you haven't had a chance to read these boards up in the windows over here, it's very impressive. But I thank all of you for turning out. Before I leave, I did want to also, in her life, and we've talked about her love of teaching, after she retired, she went off and was looking for other things to do to give back. And one of the ways she gave back is she began getting involved at the Woodlands Public Library in supporting literacy programs. And one of her beloved students, Carmen Alvarez, came here, and Carmen was a beneficiary of Aunt Norma's commitment to helping others and teaching them. So, and Carmen was sharing with us earlier, she never knew until after Aunt Norma's passing that she was a college professor. That was just the type of woman she was. She never sought any notoriety, and so that was, and that speaks well to the commitment that she had to students and to teaching. I thank all of you. I'm looking forward to meeting some of the recipients. I've studied the piece that was in the newspaper, so I'm recognizing some faces, and I look forward to visiting with each of you. And Mackenzie, I thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and appreciate the hard work that the UC Davis Library has done on behalf of the memory of Dr. Norma J. Lang.
Thank you, Andy. That was very touching. And it's great to learn more about your aunt. She was a remarkable woman, and one of the first women scientists on this campus at a time when that wasn't such a common thing. So now I need to introduce the godmother of this program, the woman who's really put the most effort into defining the prize and organizing this whole thing. She is the Interim Associate University Librarian for Academic Services here in the library and the Lang Prize Chair. And she will tell us a little bit more about the prize and introduce this year's remarkable winners. So with no further ado, welcome Beth Callahan.
What a great introduction. I would like to start out by thanking the reviewers who spent countless hours reviewing our applications. Mark Halpern, Professor, East Asian Languages and Cultures. Lynn Roller, Professor in Art History. Jay Rosenheim, Professor, Entomology and Nematology. Jeannie Darby, Professor in Engineering. David Mahalski, a Research Support Services Librarian here in the library. Sarah, and please forgive my stumbling over, Gunasara, a Public Services and Archive Specialist in our Special Collections. I'd also like to thank the many people in the library. I know I will leave someone out, so please take my apologies now if I don't name you specifically, because this really was a wonderfully engaged team, and it was a team effort. So thank you to Deanna Johnson, Jerry Stratford, and David Mahalski for working with me on bringing what the elements of a prize like this needed to be. Thank you to Jessica Nussbaum and her team, who did a fabulous job with the quotes and the marketing and really pulling this event together. Thank you to Ricky Gay and my right hand, left hand, sometimes feet, Layla Kabugos, who was our prize manager. Thanks very much. This wouldn't be possible without all of you contributing in a very meaningful way. Thank you especially to the Lang family. You made this prize possible, and it really is a joy to see the remarkable winners that we have. Thank you so much for your kindness and your thoughtfulness. And on to the fun part. Will the group in the Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences come forward? Our third place winner, Harley Wong. Her project title is Shot by the Western Gaze, National Geographic's Construction of the Orient. Her sponsor is Professor Talon Gregor in the Department of Art History. The course name is Imperialism of now I'm just not going to be able to say that, Histography. Harley is not able to join us because she's got a class. Look for her later today. We're hoping she can join us today before the end of the reception. Our second prize winner Funke Adaramu, whose project is A Conflict of Interest, Revisiting Development Assistant Committee Members' Tide Aid Project, Tide Aid Policy Post, 2001. Her sponsor is Ethan Schneider in the Department of Political Science. The course name is International Relations Honors Thesis Seminar.
Good afternoon, everyone. So for my senior thesis, I studied how domestic politics in foreign aid donor countries from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, also known as the OECD, how it impacts whether their aid to developing countries is tied, which mandates that funds be spent on goods and services produced in the donor country. So the practice of tying aid has been shown to have negative impacts on economic growth and poverty eradication in the recipient countries. And as such, I sought to understand why some donor countries had done better in reducing their share of tied aid than others in an effort to make aid more efficient in its development goals. I examined this through the lens of domestic interest influence realized in lobbies and special interest groups that benefit from tied aid. While conducting this research, I was surprised by the paucity of accessible data needed to answer my research question. Through working with the university librarian and using the library's databases, I eventually found the appropriate data for my research. Working through this challenge made me appreciate how crucial the collection of accurate and complete data is to producing sound and robust research. I also came to recognize the creativity, persistence, and problem-solving ability that are crucial for conducting research successfully. Although challenging and stressful on many occasions, this research experience has been an extremely valuable part of my undergraduate experience. It has granted me substantive exposure to research, and through participating in an honors seminar, I have gotten a snapshot of what graduate study may look like. Doing this research has also given me the confidence to pursue my career path in public policy with the goal of someday working at a consultancy or a think tank. I would like to thank the Lang family and the selection committee for this prize. It's not often that undergraduate students receive such a level of recognition for their research, and I'm truly appreciative of this award and the continuing of Norma J. Lang's legacy and her passion for students and research. Thank you.
Our first prize winner is Brian Wright. His project title is Southern Whigs, A British Conspiracy and the Annexation of Texas. His sponsor is Professor Gregory Downs in the History Department. The course name is the Civil War Era.
Good afternoon, everybody. So first I want to thank the Lang family, of course, and the University Library for their incredible generosity in rewarding myself and the fellow winners with this prize. I think it's indeed a rare opportunity, like Funke said, for undergraduates to even do research at this level, especially in working toward an award like this. For my project, I studied the annexation of Texas, meaning how Texas was acquired by the United States. Broadly speaking, I'm interested in westward expansion in the pre-Civil War United States. My intervention into this already well-studied topic of annexation sought to investigate how the Whig Party in particular wrestled with this diplomatic crisis and what the broader historical consequences were for both the party and the nation. In doing my research, I was most surprised by how accessible all of my research materials were. I found books throughout the library with ease and accessed a number of scholarly journals throughout library proxies that are often restricted. As an undergraduate, it's actually quite shocking how well UC Davis and the UC system foster individual research, especially for someone so new to the game. This was by far the most rigorous and substantive research project I've done as an undergrad. I learned a lot along the way. How to identify scholarly literature that would be helpful to me, how to absorb and use it in my own work, and how to conceptualize and identify primary sources. Most of all, I learned how to ask for help. The advice I got from librarians and my professors was invaluable, and any researcher will concur that that push in a new direction from a new set of eyes can totally change a research project for the better. I'd like to continue doing historical research, hopefully in graduate school and maybe someday as a teacher myself. Working on this project greatly developed my writing and enhanced my investigative skills, and this prize validates all that work in a way I would have never imagined possible. I want to thank my advising professor, Greg Downs, for his constant help and direction. I'd like to also thank my best friend and constant companion, Emma, for listening to far too many incoherent ramblings about 19th century politics. Finally, I'd like to thank the UC Davis library system and especially the Lang family for their incredible generosity. As an undergraduate, I never imagined that I would be even delivering a brief speech to a group of scholarly peers about a prize I'd won. Professor Lang's commitment to her students and especially to undergraduate research lives on in this prize, and I'm deeply humbled to have been recognized in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. My second group, come on up. Science, engineering, math. Not that that's their names. It's just the prize disciplines that we are looking at. So, for third place, Brooke Robinson, whose project title is State of the Field Analysis, Contraceptive Methods and Research. Her sponsor is Dr. Cassie Hestrom in the University Writing Program, and the course name is Writing in the Health Professions.
So hi, I'm Brooke, and my project was kind of an analysis of the research being done on how contraceptive hormonal medicine impacts mental health. And to give you some background, I was interested in doing this research because I'm pursuing a career in the medical device industry, and I was really looking for an area that needed more research to be done or was kind of lacking. And the reproductive field is definitely that. And so millions of women across the United States take hormonal birth control every year. It's the most common form of contraceptive. Something like over 99% of women, adult women in the United States, have taken some form of contraceptive at some time, and most of it is the hormonal birth control. And so one issue, though, is about 10% of these women have really negative mental health effects. And so this has kind of been pushed off like, it's only 10%, that's pretty low. And so these have been around since the 70s and 80s, there's a lot of research that I was able to do and a lot of resources I was able to use from the library to see that there probably is a correlation between these medications and mental health issues, but there hasn't been much research done, like prospective research or causal or experimental analysis to see, like, is this actually causing it, not just correlated. So that was a big kind of conclusion of my report, was that there just really needs to be more research done. That's kind of pharmaceutical stuff, but tying into my medical device future, there are a lot of medical devices available for people who maybe react badly or for whatever reason, like IUDs or whatever. And so those are really underutilized in the United States. And so a lot of my research was also about like the education available, and like only 7% of women in the United States use these kind of devices, even though they're very safe and effective. And so it was just kind of a call for more research and more education. So I'd really like to thank the library and the university for making all these resources available. Most of mine research was on very current publications that were maybe published in 2016 or even 2017. So it was really nice to have that access to such relevant information with the databases. And then this will be also really helpful for my future career. I'm starting a job at a medical device company this July, and I'll be doing a lot of analytical writing and a lot of reading of the same kind of scientific journals and that kind of thing, so it'll definitely be helpful. But to close, I'd really like to thank the library and the university, especially the Lang family, and all the donors who have made this possible. So thanks.
Our second prize winner is Ariana Stokes. Her project title is Genetic Insights in the Biogeography and Evolutionary History of the Killer Whales. Her sponsor is Professor Brenda Renard, who is a member of the University Writing Program. The course name is Writing in the Disciplines, Biological Sciences.
Hi everyone. First, I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone for giving me the opportunity to even stand here in the first place. My research project, which I undertook in the University Writing Program, was focused on the use of using genetic data to create a phylogeny, a sort of family tree of sorts, of the killer whale. Most people don't realize that the killer whale species is actually broken up into 9 distinct ecotypes, and ecotypes are sometimes called ecological races. In the killer whale, there are 9 populations of killer whales that all have vastly different appearances, diets, acoustic patterns, social structures, and movement patterns. While scientists have long known of the existence of these ecotypes, it wasn't until relatively recently that scientists began to analyze the genetic patterns of the ecotypes. As scientists started exploring the killer whale genome, they found that different ecotype populations had very distinct genetic compositions. The compositions were so distinct, in fact, that some scientists now think that the killer whale, as we know it today, is actually several different species. This is an important conclusion because of the implications of what we label as a species or not a species in terms of conservation. It has very tangible consequences for conservation. The process that I undertook while writing this research paper was long and at times arduous, but it ultimately proved to be a wonderful learning experience, and the project completely changed the way I interact with the UC Davis Library. The library transitioned from just a place to study to a dynamic resource with a plethora of physical resources and a near boundless amount of online resources. And I would just like to echo what Mackenzie said earlier when you said that a lot of students don't know of the extent of the online resources, and that really was the case for me, where I suddenly became aware of the whole world of resources that the library makes available to students. I feel that now I can walk into the library and access the resources that I need to begin answering a research question confidently. I foresee the skills I learned during this research process as being invaluable to me in my future career. In fact, they've already been helpful. Last quarter, I interned in a fire ecology lab on campus, and my duties were primarily to help them review literature for a paper that the lab was publishing. I'm so thankful for all the people responsible for helping me get to where I'm standing today. Thank you to the library staff who have been very helpful throughout this entire process, whether it was through the process of me writing my paper or after I submitted into the Lang Prize, and all the emails that have gone back and forth since then. I also want to thank Ruth, library specialist, research specialist, and she came to our UWP class and helped all of the students there. It was a very great learning experience. Also, thank you to Dr. Renard, who unfortunately was not able to be here today. She had indispensable guidance and scientific writing wisdom, and she, as you mentioned, sponsored my submission. Thank you to the selection committee. I'm so honored to be recognized. And lastly, I want to give a great thank you to the Lang family for their generous support of students and for encouraging students to delve into their passions. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity and for continuing to offer this opportunity to students in the future. It was also great to hear a bit more about Norma J. Lang when I submitted into the Lang Prize. I really didn't know any of that background information, and it was great to hear that. I'm really happy for the legacy that the prize is continuing, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
And our first prize winner is Elizabeth Chain. Her project title is All About the Cup of Kawa. Her sponsor is Professor Paul Gepps, who is sitting in the audience. Thank you for attending. He is in the Department of Plant Sciences. The course name is The Evolution of Crop Plants.
Hi, it's a privilege to be here this afternoon. And my assignment was to write a scientific review paper on the origin of a crop using genetic, botanical, linguistic, archaeological, and historical evidence. I decided to write on coffee. As one can imagine, deciphering the genetic and botanical evidence was hard enough because this was my first research paper. And tying it into linguistic, archaeological, and historical evidence added another layer of difficulty, as I did not have much expertise in any of these subjects. Through this project, I learned the importance of integrating multiple types of evidences in order to create a more holistic, unbiased understanding of the origin of coffee. I also saw the importance of studying crop evolution and domestication, an area of study that allows us to restore genetic diversity to an increasingly uniform crop population. Besides providing a quiet place to study and a very needed reserve systems for textbooks, the library has provided me with the resources that I need to excel as a scientist and researcher. With the access to electronic databases I would otherwise have to pay for, and an interlibrary loan system, the library provides a wealth of information. What's more, we have librarians who are specialists in sorting that information. Although I did not consult a librarian while writing my research paper, I wish I had because it probably would have saved me a lot of time and struggles. In fact, a few weeks ago, one of the librarians, Adele Dobry from the Carson Health Sciences Library, came to speak at my Writing for Health Professions class to assist us in research strategies for writing a literature review. When she was going over strategies like citation mapping, I thought, gee, this sounds awful familiar. Well, that was because I used this strategy when writing All Because of a Cup of Kawa, only I didn't know the name for it. Besides citation mapping, we were also introduced to a variety of search strategies that were new to me, such as the MESH database on PubMed. How will these lessons help me in the future? Well, as Dr. Gepps likes to say, scientists don't take multiple choice tests. They write grants, proposals, articles to communicate their science to others. All of these strategies will no doubt help me in my future career as a veterinarian. As a veterinarian, I want to be at the interface of the research doctor and client relationship, as the liaison that brings together mutual understanding for a better human-animal bond. I would like to thank Dr. Gepps for assigning this paper and / preparing me for the real world and helping me make the most out of this assignment. I would also like to thank the library for providing me with all the resources necessary to write this paper. Last but not least, I would like to thank the Lang family for their generosity of heart in recognizing students for their research. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Aren't these impressive students?
And that is it for our program today. So I just want to thank all of you for coming, and I am so impressed with the research that you guys did. It's really just inspiring. And I hope that you will go forth and tell all of your friends about this program and how useful you found it, because we really want to get the word out. And you are the first class of awardees, so it's your job to make sure everybody knows that it was good for you and it'll be good for them. So thank you all for participating. You did great work. Thank you again to the Lang family for making all this possible. And enjoy our lovely reception and our beautiful weather. Thank you.